What's up, everyone? It's Elijah with IH Pet Marketing, and welcome to part 7 of 7 of the Google Ads for Dog Trainers series. In this video, we're going to be covering how to manage and optimize your Google Ad campaign on an ongoing basis so that you can see the highest return possible for the longest amount of time possible. A lot of people don't understand that when you start your campaign, you can't just forget about it. You can, but I'm telling you now, you're only going to be making a third of the money that you could be making if you understood how to manage and optimize your Google Ad campaign. A lot of people are wasting so much spend on their Google Ads campaigns, and it's because they don't know how to manage them or optimize them. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that in this video. Now, with that said, if you haven't watched parts 1 through 6, pause this, go watch those, and then come back to part 7. Every video in this series needs to be watched in order. All right? Let's get into it. So, up to this point, we've built all the essential components required to publish a great Google ad campaign. We have a Google search ad, we have a landing page to take people to, and then we have a lead management process to convert leads into clients. But we're not done. Your campaign is brand new, which means Google has no data to work from. For the first couple of months, you can expect volatile performance. Clicks will be cheap one day, then expensive the next. You might see no leads for 7 days, followed by 10 leads over the next 3 days. Google does not know what works yet, and the algorithm must go through a learning process of spreading your ads across different locations, search terms, combinations, and demographics. As you get clicks, as you get conversions, Google will start to recognize what's working and leads will become more consistent at a higher quality for a cheaper cost. But this does not happen automatically. You can't just build your campaign and forget about it. If you want to get the highest ROI consistently for years and years, you must know how to manage and optimize your campaign on an ongoing basis. That's what we're going to cover in this video. So let's get right into it. Let me start by acknowledging this important message here. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the frameworks and the checklists that I think through to manage and optimize our dog training clients' Google ad campaigns. But you have to realize every client that we have, and we have around 35 dog training clients right now who we're managing their Google Ads campaigns for, behaves a bit differently. And they're not all the same. There is no one size fits all optimization approach here. Right? You have to be able to look at your account and come up and diagnose problems on your own. All right. So every campaign is nuanced, and the answer to what you should add, edit, or remove from your campaign at any given time will always be it depends. What's important to understand is how to open your Google Ads account, analyze the data that matters, diagnose problems, and make accurate changes to your campaigns based on what the data is telling you and not emotional guesswork. Let's dive in. By understanding these two metrics, you'll be able to solve 90% of performance problems. So understand click-through rate and what it means, understand conversion rate and what it means, and you can start there and typically dig deeper to find the root cause of what's causing low performance in your Google Ads account. I like to see a click-through rate usually in the range of 8 to 15%. A low click-through rate would be something like 3 to 6% and is typically caused by A, the right people seeing your ad but not clicking them, B, the wrong people seeing your ad, therefore not clicking them, or C, poor ad rank. So to cover reason A, the right people are seeing your ad but not clicking them, that's typically going to be from an ad quality issue because the right people are seeing your ad. They're dog owners in your area who need training, but they're scrolling past your ad. They're not clicking on it. And that could be because your ad maybe it lacks specificity. Maybe there's not enough benefit driven text in the ad. Maybe it lacks relevance, right? Poor headlines, poor descriptions, poor use of assets, things like images, logo, brand name, site links, and callouts. Reason B, the wrong people are seeing your ad, therefore not clicking on them. And in that case, you would have a targeting issue, right? That could be caused by a poor keyword choice. That could be caused by a poor keyword match type. That could be caused by ad placements like the search network and display network, where you're going to get a lot of low quality traffic, low intent traffic. Targeting, right? It could be a location targeting issue. It could be your bid strategy, right? So for keyword choice, if you're using a keyword like dog trainer, well, you're going to get a lot of, that's a very general term that has a lot of meanings. And you're going to get a lot of, your ad will show up for various search terms, even ones that are completely unrelated to your service. For example, someone might be looking for a dog training book. And because your keyword is simply dog trainer, you could be eligible to pop up in an auction and in the search results for that keyword, but it's irrelevant. You're not selling dog training books, right? And so with poor keyword choice, that can cause the wrong people to see your ad. Poor keyword match type. If you're using a broad match keyword, there's a good chance you're going to get a lot of wasted search terms that are triggering your ad and causing wasted ad spend. The wrong people are seeing your ad. Or they simply just don't even click it at all, right? Because it's irrelevant to what it is that they're looking for. In the last video, I used an example for broad match. If you're using broad match and your keyword choice is dog trainer and it's a broad match keyword choice, you're going to get search terms where someone is typing in something like Caesar Milan dog training, online dog training course. If someone's typing in Caesar Milan online dog training course, there's a very low likelihood they are going to click on your ad because it is simply so irrelevant to what it is that they're looking for. Right? So match type can play a huge role in poor click-through rate. Ad placements like search network and display network, just a lot of low quality inventory. Location targeting. So if you are in Dallas, Texas, and you're targeting a 100-mile radius, well, someone who sees your ad that's 100 miles away might see your headline that says dog training in Dallas, Texas, and look at that headline and go, oh, golly, that's 100 miles away. Too far for me. Let me keep scrolling. Bid strategy, right? So right now we're using maximize clicks, but we don't want to use maximize clicks forever. This is a short-term play. We're going to explain more about that in a minute. But if you continue to use maximize clicks forever, you're going to get a lot of irrelevant traffic over time to your campaign, which will result in low quality, or rather a low click-through rate, right? So those are examples of targeting issues. Then we have poor ad rank. So your ad is being shown on the bottom of the page, which again, it's like the further down you are on that page, the less likely someone is going to click, and the higher likelihood you will have a low click-through rate for your campaign. And that could be caused by bid strategy. That could be caused by the ad quality. That could be caused by landing page quality or the competitiveness in your area. Okay, so bid strategy, again, if you're using something like maximize clicks for too long. Ad quality. If you have poor headlines, descriptions, and a poor use of assets, and people are not clicking on your ad, Google will recognize that and be less incentivized to want to show you at the top of the search results. Instead, they'll show you at the bottom. Landing page quality. So if people are landing on your, if you are not getting any conversions on your landing page, or like form submissions, Google will recognize that. And again, they'll realize that people are not having a good experience on your landing page because they're not converting, and Google will be more likely to show you at the bottom of the search results. Competitiveness. If you have a lot of competition in your area, if you have someone with a big budget who's been paying Google for 5 years, Google likes that person. And it's going to take time before Google decides to show you or prioritize you over that person in the auctions. All right, so if you have a lot of competition in your area, that can also result in a lower click-through rate because you have competitors who are outranking you. So that is click-through rate. Now let's cover conversion rate. So conversion rate is calculated by taking your clicks and dividing them by conversions, and that is how you find your conversion rate. And conversion rate is typically going to consist of form submissions and phone calls. Okay. A low conversion, again, and just like click-through rate, I usually like to see a conversion rate of 8 to 15%. A low conversion rate in the 3 to 6% range is typically caused by A, your landing page is providing users with a poor experience. B, your landing page is great, but the wrong people are landing on it. So for reason A, landing page issue. Your landing page might lack benefit-driven text, specificity, clarity, callouts, social proof, safety nets. There's a bunch of reasons why your landing page might not be converting. Refer to the landing page video of this series. So if you haven't watched part 4 of this series where we cover landing pages, go rewatch that. If you have a low conversion rate and you believe it's because people just are not converting on your page, you believe the right people are landing there, but they're not converting, then go back to this video, watch through it, and make sure you have a properly structured landing page. All right. So that's reason A. Reason B, targeting issue. Are the right people landing on your landing page? So you might have a great landing page, but if the wrong people are landing on it, if someone's looking for a Caesar Milan online dog training course and they land on your page, it's irrelevant to what they need. They're going to click away no matter how good your landing page is, right? And very similar to targeting issues on low click-through rate, the same applies for your landing page, right? So if you have a poor keyword choice, poor keyword match type, bidding strategy, poor if your ad placements are things like the search network and display network, or if you have a misleading headline where maybe in your headline it says, you know, dog training group classes, and then someone clicks it and there's big bold text on the top of your landing page that says board and train dog training solution. It's like someone who's looking for group classes and sees your headline in the search results that says group classes, then clicks on it and goes to a page and the first thing it says is board and train in XYZ city. Well, then that person is going to be like, wait, I'm looking for group classes, and there's a good chance they're going to click away. So now we've covered click-through rate and why you might have a low click-through rate and how to diagnose that issue. And then you have conversion rate, reasons you might have a low conversion rate, and how to diagnose that issue. But at the end of the day, we have to remember something here, guys. Don't get too caught up in your cost per click and your conversion rate and your click-through rate. At the end of the day, the most important metric to remember is your ROI. If your cost per conversion is high, but you're still getting an ROI of 5 to 10x, don't change anything, just put more money into the system. And this is something that's really important to remember because a lot of people make this mistake of getting so caught up in the metrics of a campaign, and at the end of the day, they're getting a 7x return on their money. It's like, that's a great return on your money. Don't get caught up in tinkering with the campaign. Just put more money into that system, and if anything, fix your sales process on the back end to get an even higher return. So now let's cover search terms and negative keywords. So search terms, put simply, are what people are typing in that are triggering your ad to show up. Negative keywords are the keywords and or phrases you don't want your ad to show up for. So search terms are really cool. There's two big benefits we get from search terms. By being able to see what people are typing in that's causing our ads to show up, we can look at the search terms report and find keywords we don't want and keywords we do want. If you find a keyword you don't want that's completely irrelevant to your service, for example, if you're a dog trainer and you see that in the search terms report, someone typed in dog daycare near me to trigger your ad, you probably don't want to show up for people looking for a dog daycare because you're a dog trainer. So you can add daycare as a negative keyword in your Google Ads account, which will tell Google, hey Google, if someone types in the word daycare anywhere in the search bar, don't show our ad for that. Conversely, you might find keywords in the search term reports that you want to add to your ad account. Meaning, if you're looking at a search term report over the last 60 days and you see that there's a keyword that's gotten you 3, 4, or 5 conversions and you don't have that keyword added to your account, you can go ahead and say, well, look, this is a high performing search term that we're getting a lot of results for. Let's go ahead and add that search term to our account, right? Or rather to our ad group or to our ad. So that's search terms. And that's why they're awesome. Let's go ahead and dive into search terms really quick, and then we'll go into negative keywords. So to find the search terms in your Google Ads account, go ahead and let's dive into the Google Ads platform here. Go over to where it says Insights and reports, first make sure you're looking at your campaign. Hover over insights and reports and then go to search terms. Now this is a demonstration account, so I don't have any data here, but I do have an image that we will look at together to review search terms. All right, so this is an image from a real client account. This is results over the course of 7 days. You can see the filter there. Of course, I had to block out some stuff. I can't give you guys everything, right? So let's go ahead and cover what we're looking at here. So if we look at the column all the way to the left here, this says search terms. So this is what people are typing in to trigger our ads to show up. So you can see, again, some of the search term is blocked off and that's intentional, but you can see this one here, dog training near me. So someone typed in dog training near me and that caused our ad to show up. So on the left-hand side is where you can see what people are typing in. And then we have all these different metrics like clicks, impressions, click-through rate, average cost per click, conversion rate, total conversions, and cost per conversion, right? And so I have this one here outlined in red, and that's because this is going to be something I would probably add as a negative keyword for this particular client. And the reason is because you can see the search term, someone put puppy classes, and there's a little bit more text here. Doesn't matter what the text is. What's important is that they put the word classes. This particular client does not offer any sort of classes. And so this might be a keyword where I think about it and go, okay, well, look, they don't offer any classes. Therefore, we should probably add it as a negative keyword, because if someone is looking for classes and they click on their ad or go to their landing page, they're not going to see anything about classes as an offering. There's a good chance they won't convert. So we might want to add we might want to add classes as a negative keyword, right? And you can see here in the keyword column that puppy classes triggered puppy training Calgary, right? And so this is what a search term report looks like. What you're really going to want to look at is what someone's typing in, the keyword that it triggered, and then also look at the metrics, like what is the performance on that keyword? Because you might also find that you could have a search term like puppy classes, even if you don't offer puppy classes, and still could have great results from that search term. So sometimes you might want to give search terms a little bit more data to really reveal the truth and then make a decision, right? Because who knows? I mean, puppy classes might convert well for you even if you don't offer classes. So always keep in mind statistical significance and make sure you have enough data there to make a confident decision. So now let's cover negative keywords, the keywords and or phrases you don't want your ads to show up for. Now, I've already briefly explained how negative keywords work, but what's really important to understand about negative keywords is the match type and what it means. So just like regular keywords, negative keywords also have match types, but they work a little bit differently than regular keywords. So let's go ahead and dive into how the match types work for negative keywords. So negative keywords exclude specific search terms from your campaigns, focusing your ads on relevant keywords. For search campaigns, use broad, phrase, or exact match types. And we have a few examples here. And by the way, this Google Doc here will be linked in the description of this video. We don't need your email. We don't need any of your information. It's absolutely free. So feel free to grab this doc and access this support article here about negative keywords if you'd like to read all through this. Okay, so for negative broad match keywords, let's go ahead and start there. This type is the default for your negative keywords. For negative broad match keywords, your ad won't show if the search contains all your negative keyword terms, even if the terms are in different order. So if someone types in running shoes in their search term, even if there's extra words in the search term, even if shoes and running are in different order, doesn't matter. If it contains running shoes, do not show my ad. That's what a broad match negative keyword is, and that's how it works. So for example, if someone types in blue tennis shoes, could an ad show? Yes. If someone types in running shoe, could an ad still show? Yes. And you might be wondering, well, why? We have running shoes as a negative keyword. This is the difference right here. Shoes is plural, whereas running shoe is singular. And because there is no S after the word shoe, then it is eligible to show in the auction or in the search results. It has to have the exact same text. And in this case, it's simply just missing an S. Now, this one, blue running shoes. So even though there's the word blue, because running shoes is in the search term, it's not going to show up. Shoes running, even though they're in different order, because it contains the word shoes and running, your ad will not show up. And then, of course, running shoes. Your ad's not going to show up because someone typed in running shoes exactly. Okay, so that's broad match. Now let's cover negative phrase match. For negative phrase match keywords, your ads won't show if the search contains the exact terms in the same order. So someone has to, regardless of what someone types in the search bar, if running shoes in that order is in their search, then your ads will not show. For example, blue tennis shoes. Could an ad show? Yes. Running shoe. Could an ad show? Yes. And it's very similar to our broad match explanation here. If this said running shoes with an S at the end of it, because it is the exact keyword term in the same order, running shoes, then we would not be able to show this, right? And it shows that right here. Okay, so blue running shoes. It will not show up for blue running shoes. And the reason why is even though there's the word blue here, because the exact keyword terms are in the same order, running and shoes, it's not going to show. Now for shoes running, unlike broad match, for shoes running, because it contains, or rather, yes, it has your two keywords, shoes and running, but they are in different order. What you're telling Google when you have a negative phrase match keyword, what you're telling Google is that if someone types in this order running shoes, don't show my ad. But if someone types in shoes running, meaning it's in a different order, then you can show my ad. Right now, as you can see here for phrase match, if someone types in running shoes in that order, your ad will not show. Blue running shoes, they typed in running shoes in that order, your ad will not show. So I hope this is making sense. Now for the last one, we have negative exact match. So for negative exact match keywords, your ad won't show if the search contains the exact keyword terms in the same order without extra words. So someone will have to type in running shoes exactly, and that is it for your ad to not show up with an exact match type for this negative keyword. So if your negative exact match keyword is running shoes, right, and you're using exact match, which is denoted by these brackets here, your ad will show up for blue tennis shoes. Your ad will show up for running shoe, for blue running shoes, and for shoes running, but it will not show up for running shoes. Someone has to type in exactly and only in the search bar running shoes. If they type in running shoes size 10, then your ad can pop up. If they type in red running shoes, then your ad can pop up. But if they only type in running shoes, your ad will not pop up. So you're just telling Google someone has to type this in exactly in the same order with no extra words for you to not show my ad. Okay, so now let's dive into optimizations. So days 1 through 30, here's a checklist of the optimizations and changes you should be making to your campaign. Okay, so right here we have add negative keywords for search terms that are triggering an irrelevant keyword. And we've already covered this pretty extensively so far, right? If you see a search term where it says dog daycare near me, and that triggered your keyword that says dog training in Los Angeles, well, look, unless you offer daycare, you probably don't want your ad to be triggered for someone typing in a daycare related search term. And then here we have check assets like business name, logo, and images and make sure they are enabled. So for a lot of you guys, earlier in the campaign build in the last video, we went over advertiser verification. So if you hover over billing and you go to advertiser verification, you have to get this done in order to show things like your business name, logo, and images in your ad. You can still run your ad, but the verification process might take a few days. So what you need to do upon publishing your ad and doing the verification is you're going to need to come back to your campaign And upon being verified, you will then be able to add assets to your ad like images, business name, and business logo. And you can see that here by hovering over campaigns, going over to assets, make sure you're looking at your campaign here, okay? And then you can see all your different asset types here. So business logo, right now we don't have anything. Business name, right now we don't have anything. And there will also be an image asset button. You don't see it now because we haven't finished advertiser verification. Once we do, we would be able to see images here as well. Once your advertiser verification is accepted, you will be able to add your business name and you'll be able to add your logo and your assets, or rather your images. So once you've started your campaign, make sure you check the update on your verification status. And upon being verified, go over to your assets here and add your business name, logo, and images to your campaign. Super important, okay? Usually only takes 48 hours to get accepted through verification, but sometimes there's multiple layers of verification that you have to go through, okay? So check assets like business name, logo, and images and make sure they're enabled. Check that form submission and phone call conversions are being properly tracked. So 30 days into your campaign, at this point, you should have some negative keywords added for relevant search terms. Your business name, logo, and images should be added to your campaign because you are now a verified advertiser. And you should also have a few conversions within your account, more than a few, to be honest. You should have a few dozen, if anything, or a couple dozen conversions in your account at this point, and make sure that those are being tracked properly in your account, okay? Lastly, be patient and let data collect. It's too early to make any big changes beyond what's above. Now, once you're 30 to 45 days in, you should have a total of around 20 to 50 conversions, calls, and form submissions by now. It's time for us to leverage the conversion data we've collected and direct Google to focus not on getting clicks, but on our conversion data and finding more people who are like the ones that have recently converted. Right? So up until this point, 30 to 45 days in, we have been on the maximized clicks bidding strategy, where we're basically just telling Google, get us as many clicks as you can. And the reason we're doing that is because we're just collecting a bunch of data, and we just need to get data because we will leverage that data later on. And at this point, 30 to 45 days in is when we're going to begin leveraging that data and telling Google, hey, don't just get me as many clicks as you can, get me clicks of more people who are like those that have converted in the past. We have a bunch of data here that you can work from. And I briefly explained that same thing right here. So very important, bidding strategy, all right? So we are currently on maximize clicks. Hey Google, which basically is saying, hey Google, treat all leads equal and get me as many clicks as possible. What we are going to do is we are going to change our bidding strategy from maximize clicks to maximize conversions. And this is a big deal, okay? Maximize conversions is basically telling Google, hey Google, use the conversion data we have in our account, which is form submissions and phone calls, and look for more people like this. Once you have 30 to 50 conversions in your account, you switch bidding strategy from maximize clicks to maximize conversions. This should take about 4 to 8 weeks. Set your target CPA a few dollars above your average cost per conversion. So let me go ahead and quickly pull up my campaign here, and I'm going to go to campaign settings. Okay, and we are going to go to bidding strategy, which is right here. And as you can see right now, we're currently on maximize clicks. Now let's pretend I am 30 to 45 days in. I have around 50 conversions in my account, 40 conversions in my account, and I'm ready to switch to maximize conversions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on this link where it says change bid strategy. And then I'm going to, instead of focusing on clicks, we are going to focus on conversions. Okay, and you typically are going to want to set a target cost per action, which don't get confused by target cost per action. It simply means target cost per conversion. I don't know why they use action and conversion interchangeably here, but they do. So typically you're going to want to set a target CPA, all right? And let's dive into what you should set it as. So set your target CPA a few dollars above your average cost per conversion. So for example, if your average cost per conversion is $36, your target CPA should be around $38. If your campaign is consistently outperforming your target CPA, meaning if your target CPA is $38 and your cost per conversion is consistently $30, then lower your target CPA down $1 to $3. So, for example, let's just say my average cost per conversion, say I'm about 2.5 months in, I have around 40 conversions in my account, and each conversion on average costs me about $36. Okay, what I'm going to want to do is change my bidding strategy to max conversions, and I'm going to want to put my target CPA just a little bit above my average. And this just gives Google some wiggle room. We don't want to over constrain Google this early on. For now, give it a little bit of wiggle room. And so if your target CPA is 36, go ahead and set it as 38. I misspoke there. If your average cost per conversion is 36, go ahead and set your target CPA at about 38. Now, once you've set this at 38, and let's just say another 3 weeks has gone by, and you've managed to get a bunch more leads, and each lead over the last 3 weeks is only costing you $30, $31, which is way below your target CPA, then go ahead and lower your CPA at $1 to $3 increments. Warning, everyone would love a $2 cost per conversion, but it's simply not practical. Do not suffocate your campaign by trying to achieve an unrealistic target CPA. So for example, obviously we want to try to get the cheapest leads as possible. If after 4 weeks, or I'm sorry, if after 6 weeks you have 40 conversions and the average cost per conversion is $36, you wouldn't want to go into here and tell Google, oh, I want you to find $5 leads for me. It's like you're going to over constrain Google, and they're not, what you're going to end up with is no clicks at all, right? Because there's simply, you're over constraining Google's algorithm, and they're not going to be able to find you leads who are that cheap. Okay, so don't overdo it here. Give Google some room. Don't try to achieve an unrealistic target CPA. Okay, now, if your target CPA, cost per conversion, is within KPI, which is 8 to 15, or I'm sorry, which is typically going to be around anywhere from $20 to $75. If your target cost per conversion is within KPI, leave it and focus on downstream metrics. Things like converting more leads into evals, your lead to eval rate, converting more evals into clients, your eval to client rate, your follow-up process, your sales process, pricing, etc. Right? So if your cost per conversion is in the range where we want it, roughly, again, on the very low end, $20 a lead, which is really good, all the way up to even $100 a lead. If you're selling $3,000 or $4,000 programs, $100 lead is not bad at all, right? And instead of trying to get your $100 leads down to 75, it's like, yes, over time you can do that with your campaign, but ideally, if you're in the range of 20 to 75 or $100 and you have $3,000 to $4,000 programs, then simply just focus on the back end stuff like your your lead to eval rate, your eval to client rate, your follow-up process, your sales process, and all that stuff, right? Remember, we're not trying to get the cheapest leads. We're trying to get the highest ROI. Lastly, consider changing some of your high-performing keywords from exact match to phrase or broad. So if you've watched the last video, I had told you guys in regards to keywords, starting out, do not use broad match keywords. When you're starting out, I would suggest using exact match and maybe a little bit of phrase match, right? But now that we have conversion data to work from and we have changed our bidding strategy to maximize conversions, now that we're optimizing for conversions, we can allow Google more freedom to explore other signals that could lead to conversions at our target CPA, signals that were previously constrained by exact match keywords. So now with our conversion data, Google can work from that data and go find more people who are like that, but we're giving Google more freedom by adding in broad match and adding in phrase match keywords. We're giving Google more freedom to explore and find others who are like those that have converted in the past, whereas before we couldn't do that because we were constrained by only using things like exact match keywords. So just to rewind a little bit. So the first 30 days of your campaign, you're not making any big changes here. You're simply just adding negative keywords as they come in, right? You're checking assets like your business name and your logo and images to make sure that's all in place and your advertiser verification is complete. And you're also making sure that your that your conversions are being tracked properly. But you haven't done much yet. It's too early. We don't have enough data. You shouldn't make any big changes in the first 30 days. Now, once you're 30 to 45 days in and you have a good amount of conversions in your account, now it's time for us to leverage those conversions and we're going to switch our bidding strategy to maximize conversions. Now, let's say you are 3 months in and you have switched your bidding strategy to maximize conversions. You're getting conversions consistently at your target CPA and things are going pretty good. Well, 90 days in, even 60 days in, you're starting to collect a decent amount of data in your account where you can confidently make decisions and look at the data and confidently say, this is working or this is not working. So now we want to start looking at making some optimizations and basically trimming out the fat from our campaign. So evergreen ongoing optimizations. Remove low performing keywords. All right, so when you're 3 months in, go ahead and open up your Google Ads account. All right, and you're going to go to your campaign and you're going to go ahead and pull up one of your ads. And in this case, I only have one. So if I'm looking at my board and train ad group and I go to keywords, now I'm looking at the keywords within my board and train ad group. If after 90 days, let's say I have 6 keywords here, if I can see that there's 1 or 2 keywords where the click-through rate is really low, the cost per conversion on that keyword is really low, then I might as well pause that keyword. And instead of wasting money on that low performing keyword, let's let that budget be redistributed to these more high performing keywords within this ad group. All right, so trim out keywords that are not giving you good results. Remove low performing keywords. Add high converting search terms and as new keywords. So I touched on that a minute ago when we were talking about search terms. So if after 3 months you're looking at your search terms report and you can see that you have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 conversions from a keyword that you don't have added to your account yet, go ahead and add that keyword because it's a high performing keyword and you have a bunch of data to prove that it's a high performing keyword. Identify low performing locations and exclude. So if you're in your Google Ads account and you go down to locations, make sure you're looking at your whole campaign here. In locations, I'm sorry, you guys, I don't have anything here in this demo account. But when you click on locations, what you will see here, just like in the search terms report I showed you guys a minute ago, you will see a list of all the locations you're targeting, and you'll be able to see how many clicks each location is getting, how many impressions, the click-through rate, the conversion rate. And for locations that have a poor click-through rate and a poor conversion rate with a lot of data to prove it, you're going to go ahead and just exclude those locations. You know, if you have a location where your cost per conversion is $25 and the conversion rate is 15% and you're just killing it in that location, it's like, but then you might have a second location where your cost per conversion is $180 and your click through or your conversion rate is only 2%. It's like, well, let's go ahead and pause. Let's exclude the location that only has a 2% conversion rate. And let's go ahead and spend our money elsewhere, like the location that's giving us a 15% conversion rate for a $25 conversion. All right. So this is how you optimize your campaign. You're just trimming the fat. You're trimming off things that are not working, because now you have enough data to confidently decide to make those decisions confidently. Check for low performing keywords and pause them. Add negative keywords for search terms that are triggering an irrelevant keywords. So these are just ongoing evergreen optimizations here, guys. And then lastly, we have exclude low performing audience demographic. Typically best to exclude by ad group, not campaign. So I have an image here I want to share with you guys. And this is in a live account that we have with one of our dog training clients. Okay. And what we're looking at here is, let me show you guys how I got here. So if you're looking at your campaign and you go over to audiences, keywords, and content, you can go down where it says audiences and you will be able to access the demographics of your campaign. And that is what we are looking at right here. All right. Now, obviously there is no data in this account. This is a demonstration account. But in this image here, we do have real data with a real client of ours. And as you can see, For people who are in the age of, let's start with our average cost per conversion here. So for this client, our average cost per conversion is $21, and our conversion rate on average is 11.4% with a click-through rate of about 9.5%. So these are very healthy metrics. This campaign is doing really well. If you look at the age ranges between 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 and 35 to 44, all of the metrics look good. But when we hit people who are 65 and up, you can see the cost per conversion for people 65 and up has doubled, right? And our click-through rate is only 8%, right? It's fell below our average. Our conversion rate is only 4.5% when our average is 11.4, right? And so clearly the people who are 65 and up are not resonating with this ad well, and they're not converting well. We'd be better off letting this extra ad spend be spent in other areas where people are actually converting. Right now, an important thing to remember here, and I wrote this right here where it says breakdown by ad group view. So something that's important is if you have 5 ad groups, that means you'll see that 65 plus is not performing well. But right now we're looking at the campaign view. And with this drop down, and I'll actually show you what it looks like in the ad account. So right now this would be an ad group view, and then we have a campaign view. So with the campaign view, you see we have 65 plus here. But with the ad group view, you will be able to see the age range, but for each and every ad group. So what you might notice is that maybe you have 5 ad groups. And for people who are 65 plus, let's say you have this in ad group view and you have 5 ad groups, you'll see that maybe for 4 out of the 5 ad groups, people who are 65 plus are converting perfectly fine. But then for one of the 5 ad groups, people who are 65 plus are simply just not doing well. And that is what's dragging everything else down. And so it might not be people who are 65 plus across all your ad groups that are performing bad. It might be people who are 65 plus only for one particular ad group. So make sure when you're doing this, you break it down, not just by campaign view, but by ad group view as well. Okay, everyone. And that is it. I have some final notes here I want to share with you guys, and then that will write off the Google Ads for Dog Trainers series. So, final notes, ignoring Google Ads reps. So, you will get frequent emails, phone calls, and account suggestions from Google Ads reps. Ignore them. They don't have your best interests in mind. Okay, I can't stress this enough. Ignore the Google Ads reps. Recommendations and optimization score. So, in your Google Ads account, you will have a lot of, and I don't know if they're actually going to show it here for me because I don't have a campaign running. But basically, if we go to recommendations here, Google is going to have all these recommendations that they suggest, and they'll even add an optimization score. This optimization score is totally arbitrary, and as you can see, it's 95.9% right now, right? I can literally just go like this I can click on one of these recommendations and dismiss it, and now my optimization score shoots up from me just dismissing the recommendation. So this is a completely arbitrary score. And to be quite honest, so Google will bombard you with recommendations tied to an increase in your optimization score, which is Google's arbitrary metric for how well your campaign is set up to perform based on their recommendations and best practices. 90% of the time, you should ignore them. They don't have your best interest in mind. Now, with that said, I've noted here, I'll be generous and say 10% of the recommendations can be genuinely helpful. Read the recommendation, then apply what you've learned throughout this series to determine if it's any good or not. And lastly here, 6-month minimum, 6-month outlook minimum. So Google Ads can change your business and your life. If it was easy and everyone could simply pay Google $1 and get $10 back, everyone would be rich. But it's not that way because Google Ads requires effort, skill, and time to refine and optimize. If you're not invested in the process of making this work, don't bother. Give it a minimum of 6 months before you decide whether or not this is for you. And that is it for the Google Ads for Dog Trainers series. If you followed along with me throughout this whole series, I want you to give yourself a pat on the back. I know there was a lot of things we covered in this series, and there was a lot of work involved. With that said, if you've watched through this series and you've decided that you don't want to do this work yourself, feel free to reach out to our agency where we can look at working with you. Go ahead and click the link below if you're interested in working with us. Full transparency, if you click the link, it's going to take you to a landing page with a video of me trying to pitch you our services. So if you don't want to be pitched, don't click the link below. With that said, if you got value from this series, if you have any feedback for me, please leave a comment below, leave a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel to see the future content that we put out because we are going nowhere. And IH Pet Marketing is going to put out some of the most value on the internet for dog trainers. So if you want to see that stuff, consider subscribing to the channel. And with that said, go ahead and make a bunch of money with Google Ads, and I will see you guys in the next video.